Hey guys, Robbie K coming back at you again with yet another Robbie's Movie Reviews. And tonight in my triple feature Saturday, I guess is the way to say it, we have got a kind of a different version from what you're expecting around the Christmas time, even though it's taking place at Christmas. Yes, tonight is another romantic comedy to flood the market that is already Hollywood with this. But nevertheless, every romantic comedy is potentially different despite being the same, and we have a lot to look into. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Welcome again to my reviews, and thank you very much for joining. If this is your first time on my channel, first of all, welcome, and thank you very much for giving me a try. The way that we do this is we talk about the trailer without any spoilers. The second thing is I give you a quick and dirty review in case you want to get in and out of the reviews and get back to your day. And for those who want a little more detail, stick around because that's where likes and dislikes come in to kind of give you my taste and some things to look into. But I'm running my mouth a little too much. Let's get going. Tonight we talk about Second Act, a movie starring the wonderful, incredibly pretty, and very multi-talented and successful Jennifer Lopez alongside Vanessa Hudgens, who's having a resurgence. It is a movie that looks to be essentially this. After working 15 years at a local value mart, Jennifer Lopez's character, Maya, is having some issues with being overlooked for a job, rightfully so, of course, but again, I'm not going to reveal too much after that. And as such, thanks to a little help from her friend and her son, essentially gets a fake profile that lands her a gig in a high-profile company, giving her a shot at trying to get back on track and perhaps be the success that everybody knows she is. With it comes alongside the usual company rivalries, the usual antics, and the potential to try to figure out herself while also searching for the ever-fleeting love. But nevertheless, we are hoping that it will be a fun movie with plenty of already one-liners plaguing the trailer. But we never know what's going to come with it because the guys at the trailers are experts. So, let's see what's in store with it as I review Second Act. Now, the quick and dirty review is this. It's a romantic comedy. It's predictable. But if you like Jennifer Lopez movies, you're going to like this because there's so much feel to it. A lot of movies of hers seem to be cannibalized in approaches to it. But if you like that kind of stuff, which is A-okay, then, hey, you're going to love this movie because it feels very much like one of her typical movies. Again, it's got class, it's got fun, it's got style, and it's got energy. That's going to be kind of your pick-me-up if that's what you're looking for in a movie. The audience members that were with in my showing, which are pretty much almost all female, were having a great emphasis on that this is a girls' trip movie, definitely, or a date movie, filled with, again, enough fun and atmosphere to really please its target audience, but enough in there to also help the guys kind of enjoy it because it's not so dragged down like a Nicholas Sparks movie, but also not quite so serious as to be boring to, again, its target audience. Certainly predictable and definitely dropping the ball on some of the emphasis in terms of the plot points it wanted to do, going down another direction. It's a movie that's, again, very sort of generic. It fits well, and, you know, people love to use the phrase, if it's not broken, please don't fix it. And I think that's kind of what this approach was. Now, again, it's not my favorite of her movies, and I don't quite think it's as well put together. You'll have to stick around for kind of the likes and dislikes for that. But nevertheless, just a fun assortment into her usual library repertoire, that if you're looking for just an alternative and definitely have that key kind of girls' night fervor going out, this is the movie of the month for you in terms of just kind of having just a rip-raunching, going out there and laughing film. Otherwise, if you've seen some of my other reviews, you know that there are probably some other things that a girls' night could also go to as well. Nevertheless, let me kind of rank this movie in terms of its category. Romantic comedy and maybe drama, if we're going to add on to that. Probably a 6, 6.5 if I'm going to be a little generous, with a 5.5 probably being my lowest score. Movie overall, no offense to anybody into this component, just looking at it from a whole big picture, it's probably about a 5, maybe a 4.5. And again, when you hear my categories in an earlier review, you know that I'm just trying to look at the big picture in terms of comparing it to others. But that's why I try to go with the genre category instead. Anyway, so this is where I leave you guys. Thank you very much. Please like, share, and please let me know how to improve upon this. I'm trying to expand this as much as I can. But if you are definitely Wanting to stick around for a more detailed review? Here we go. In terms of the details, we start with the likes. First of all, Jennifer Lopez is just one of my actresses I love to watch because of how much fun she seems to have. Her stylish looks are one thing, definitely a leading factor, because she just sells how much fun she's having, the suave, poised collectiveness, but yet is somehow able to kind of transform herself into being fragile, even though she's super strong at many levels. Now, not going down a political avenue, she just seems to rock this traditional role that she plays. Sure, a little older, but nevertheless very, very wise, and just a very fun actress to see kind of take everything together. Vanessa Hudgens as well, you know, with her coming back in, I absolutely loved having her on here. And the two of them have a great chemistry that is very well fitting for this movie. So you're definitely going to kind of grip into them being the lead actresses, being kind of the winners for what's going to sell this movie. Now, in regards to kind of the story itself, again, kudos for them keeping a pace. Romantic comedies, again, no offense, but this is one of the ones that usually bore me, are the Nicholas Sparks movies. They're not so much entertaining to me because I think they go down a different line. And yes, before you beat my head over, I get what his purpose is. But the thing about this one is that the romantic comedies can sometimes be a drag, but not this one. Its pace is fast, its runtime might be close to 2 hours, and for the most part, it doesn't really feel like that. So I absolutely had a fun time just watching the simplicity of it. Sorry, checking because I got one more movie to go review tonight. Nevertheless, J-Lo's magic seems to never run out in terms of this kind of film. So I give her kudos again for just making a very fun, entertaining one. Beautiful upcatch music. I know this is going to be a small like to some, but the music kind of adds that kind of fun atmosphere. Girls just want to have a good time fix, and it works to that degree. And definitely, I gotta say that I did like the inclusion of some other secondary characters. When you have a big name like J-Lo, sometimes others get kind of lost in the shadow when you focus so much on the star. But I'm actually very impressed with their balance of other cast members. Secondary characters played by Leah Remini, as well as, I'm sorry about the other three, but essentially the guy who owns the company, who hires her, and her other teammates that you see briefly in the trailer actually get a really good representation into this movie. So I'm very impressed with that. Even tertiary characters that are included in this, again, get a wonderful mix into it. So bravo in terms of that, and very, very kind of nod of approval to there. But by far, one of my favorite things is somehow she manages to still sell the point of some really good teaching lessons and morals that may seem cliche, preachy, and cheesy, but you know what? It works for me. And I was very, very happy with kind of seeing that embedded into it in a kind of artistic, poetic style that's beautiful, but not over-the-top mushy like we could sometimes get in movies like you see on Hallmark and Lifetime. Now that's about where my likes go. Let's kind of get to where the areas of improvement are. Well, one thing is that, again, you're going to hear that this is not an original movie. And I totally agree with that. It's very hard to be original in Hollywood, given how much volume comes out. Again, if you've been keeping track of my reviews, this is like the 9th, I think, in the last week and a half, 2 weeks. So, yeah, when you get to that, originality is hard to find. But nevertheless, it's still, even though it's fun, the movie just needed a little more class and kind of cleanup. And even though it's just kind of meant to be fun, to be in a theater release, I needed a little more from it. I needed some more, like a better angle. I needed some originality to it, or I needed a couple of other elements that I'm about to mention to really say this was a theater-worthy movie. The second thing is, in terms of its story, there's one central element that works well with a beautiful subplot that kind of integrates it. Again, you've seen it from her movies, and this is where I was talking about the problem, kind of cannibalizing some of the films she's already done and the plot points there. Now, again, it's mixed nicely, but the problem is that there were like 2 or 3 other plots that were kind of dropped for me. I can't really say anything else because in doing so I'm going to reveal some of the story, and I promise you no spoilers. But let's just say that due to the this brought a lot of predictability due to the obvious foreshadowing, and then to not really play that up and kind of just drop these building tension moments left it for a weaker movie for me. In addition to that, I can say that a couple of other co-stars that seem to be heavy highlights and have been doing a lot of promotion of the film aren't really that invested into it. And this is one of those plot lines I talked about, is that it's a little more of a weaker thread. It's not bearing much of the plot point in favor of other stories that they wish to go to. And in addition to that, all this, by dropping those, you kind of just have a little bit of this jumbled static. It didn't quite work for me. Yes, it was cute. Yes, in the end, everything starts to make sense again. But there were just a lot of avenues that they were trying to sell you in the trailers that I don't think they really covered. And because they couldn't decide kind of which way they wanted to take it, I think there was some weaker character integration than what I was expecting. And of course, when it comes to kind of the... guess what's the last thing I'm looking for? When it, I guess, comes to where the big finish comes in, there was so much rushing montage syndrome that I was a little cheated out of some of the other stuff. Now again, this isn't meant to be insulting or anything, but I just kind of felt that there was a lot of rushed over ironwork, and while one story plot totally went well for me, and I applaud it, there was a couple of times where I just kind of felt it got the Hallmark system and the Hallmark treatment, in which case things were wrapped up in a very hasty 10 minutes of filming. Now again, that's just me. If you like those kind of carbon copy, cookie cutter moments, that won't be the case with you, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is just limitations for me. Nevertheless, let's finish this up so I can get inside and not freeze. When it comes to second act, you're pretty much getting what you pay for and what you're expecting. It's a movie that's kind of feel-good, fun, and it's just got a lot of good themes that are going to make for a really good target audiences. J-Lo is still amazing. She wows me with a lot of components, and it's just a fun film with great chemistry and a number of subplots for you to try to get on, some weaker than others, some hitting right on the mark. But you're not going to get much past what you see there, and this is where I don't think it's a theater-worthy movie. Unless, of course, you're looking for something as a treat to yourself and you want to go for a girls' night. That's where this movie leads. It's not so much a Christmas theme. Probably came out at the wrong time, in my opinion, given everything else, and doesn't quite have the same originality that I think you look for when you want to go to the theater in terms of fantasy element and other components. But nevertheless, a fun adventure to just at least get your laughs on. Now, what's the overall score? If you didn't get it last time, again, we're looking at probably a 6.5, 6 in its category. We're probably looking at about a 5 overall for the movie. But my friends, thank you so much for checking it out. Please share, like, help me make this better, and I'll do my best. Now, off to the favorite, which I'll be posting in about 2 hours after the movie's done. So talk to you later, guys. Bye.